The year is 2022, and Georgia is trying to win another national championship. Do they have the quarterback to get the job done? Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Everybody, welcome back to Locked On Bulldogs here on Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, part of Locked On Atlanta. Yes, Atlanta.
Yes.
Braves just go out there sweeping them Rockies. Love to see it. Go or listen to Locked On Atlanta. Talk about that. But we're here to talk about Georgia football.
That's
and
right.
Daniel, today we're here to talk about a quarterback that may be leading us into the promised land for a second year for back-to-back championships. Do we have the quarterback on the roster that's going to do that? That's what people are wondering. That's what we want to know. And it might be polarizing to some people, Daniel. It's not might be. It is polarizing.
I think we crossed the threshold of might be. I think we can pretty much put the might be to bed. It's now we are fully into a polarizing conversation. And look, thanks, by the way, for listening. If you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, if you're listening to the audio podcast, we really appreciate it. Leave us a rating and review. Tell a friend about the show. All those things are helpful for us. If you're watching on YouTube, again, thank you for subscribing. Drop us a comment, hit that thumbs up. All those things are great. We get it. Some of you are tired of the Stetson Bennett conversation.
We said quarterback, Daniel. We said quarterback.
And to me, and listen, full disclosure, I'm kind of tired of the Stetson Bennett conversation. I think we all are. It's getting a little bit, but this is kind of the narrative of the offseason. You know, there's recruiting talk and there's whatever. But when you really look at this Georgia team, it's more than just an argument. And this is how I want to frame it for you. Because if you're a Georgia fan, you're listening to this, if you haven't already turned it off already, but you're thinking to yourself, I'm not the Weldon brothers. I can't just sit around and have this conversation over and over and over again. I don't want to do it. Think of it this way. We're not talking about some hypothetical, do you like this or do you like that type of argument.
Nope.
We're talking about, is your favorite football team going to be good next year? Because whether you like him or don't like him, whether you think he's the guy or don't think he should be the guy, Stetson Bennett's going to be the guy for this Georgia football team. And if you're somebody that thinks Carson Beck in fall camp is going to beat him out and lead this team out of the tunnel in the Benz on September the 3rd or whatever that day is, you are fooling yourself, because that's not happening. Stetson Bennett is the starting quarterback when the season starts for Georgia. So the conversation we're having is not, do you like Stetson Bennett or not? The conversation is your football team going to be good? And that's a conversation that's worth having.
That is worth having. And it's just like we said this a couple of weeks ago, and somebody came after us because why would you enjoy an 86 Honda Civic when you have a Lamborghini in the garage? And my pushback all the time to this is this. First of all, you don't know you have a Lamborghini sitting in the garage. You don't know that. You think you do. It might be, but you don't know for a fact. And the second thing in this car analogy, have you ever found that like old reliable SUV that gets the job done, tows the boat, gets the kids where they need to go, has great gas mileage, and you say, yes, but I want the new and best thing. And you go out and you buy the new and the best thing, and it turns out that the old one...
What does it do? What does it do? What's
the new one sucks. It craps out on you all the time. It breaks down. There's so much repairs on it. It's new and it's shiny and it's expensive and it's great and it's yada, 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 yada. And it doesn't do the job.
See, the problem with your analogy, Guy, is people drive cars for a variety of reasons. Maybe you drive a car to get to work reliably every day. Maybe you drive a car to have fun and unwind on the weekends. Maybe you drive a car to get from point A to point B as fast as you possibly can. Maybe you drive a car for any number of reasons. There's only one reason that people play college football. What is that reason, Clint?
To win. To win.
To win?
To win.
What?
To win. The national championship game. all the
Oh,
game.
okay.
So
So there's your Lamborghini. You understand what I'm
here's
saying? In your
that's
analogy,
thank you.
the
Thank
quarterback that
you.
does the thing you want him to do is the Lamborghini. Okay.
That's
So,
because the trophy that you get at the end of the day, that's what you're shooting for, not for eye popping, eye candy things. And we have it. So that's why he's
all right.
polarizing. To answer the question, why is he polarizing? Right there, because of how people have philosophized. You're an Auburn fan, is what you're
That's
saying.
right.
That Brian Harsin doesn't win the right way or lose in his case, because he
Yeah,
hasn't
it's not a
won.
lot of winning. Not a great
Not a lot.
analogy. Not a great
I
comparison.
know, I know, I know, I know. But let's say he winds up winning. There are still boosters who are going to be mad because you don't win, quote, the right way, the Auburn way. You win, you win. That's it.
The Auburn way, to be clear, is finding people who are convicted criminals and paying them large sums of money to come to your campus, be a transcendent talent, and win you the national championship. That is the Auburn way?
Literally, in a book. The
Okay.
Michigan man
That's
has one way. The Auburn War Eagle Plainsman has a totally different way.
cool, 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 cool.
Cool.
All right. Interesting article that we'll touch on.
Very interesting.
Let's go there now and kind of set up the rest of our conversation. ESPN, it's off season. It's clickbait season. It's please, please, please look at us season. And so ESPN putting out their article. They got their tiers of quarterbacks, Clint.
Yep.
And sure enough, lo and behold, Stetson Bennett makes this list. And where do we find Stetson Bennett on this
We
list
got
of
the Bryce
quarterbacks?
Long, the CJ Shrouds, all of that, and then you got a couple more middling kind of guys, and then all of a sudden, sneaking in right around maybe the top 10 is Stetson Bennett, is in his own subcategory. That's not Heisman lock. The Bryce Young is a preseason All-American Heisman lock. I'm not saying he's going to be a finalist, but he's a lock to get the look. And then you have the second tier guys who might crack that. And then a third tier, 2B, Stetson Bennett, that says, why isn't this guy getting love? Because all he does is go out and ball over 30 touchdowns, over 3,000 yards passing, or close to. He just goes out and ball. And he's like in the top 10 of ESPN tiers, which is fascinating because they're one of the only publications that I've read that has him listed, like
Yep.
literally at all.
Yeah. It's fascinating. And this is just to the point of not just Georgia fans,
No.
but human people do not know what to do with Stetson Bennett. They don't
Clueless.
have any idea where to put this guy. Is he good at football? Is he not good at football? There has never been the quarterback of a national championship team that you will find being
Good
argued,
golly.
is he even good at football?
That's
Like
right.
that is the conversation people are having about Stetson Bennett. All right, we're gonna talk about in the next two segments. We're gonna talk about what makes Stetson Bennett so easy to dump on, and then what makes Stetson Bennett so easy to like. And ultimately, we're gonna ask and answer the question: do we believe Georgia has the quarterback in place to win the national championship? Not with the world's greatest defense in the history of college football in
Which we
2021,
had. We had.
which we did have and we acknowledge. But with the current 2022 roster, does Georgia have the quarterback to get it done and win the national championship? That's coming up. But first, Clint's going to tell you about this.
BetOnline, your sportsbook experts, Daniel did a whole episode last week talking about the money that is associated with the season win total of Georgia. And I'm telling you right now, bet that hard. The over
This 10
is
and a
what
half,
you
y'all,
want.
is insane.
It's
Look
10
at
and a
the
half.
schedule.
Guys,
Look at the.
it's money in your pocket come December. Guys, money in your pocket. You're depositing things now to gain money later. Go over there. BetOnline is where Daniel and I trust to do all of our online sports book needs. We love it. It's easy interface. It's great system. It's easy. It's reliable. It's safe. It's secure. BetOnline is the official sports book of Locked On Bulldogs as well as Locked On Podcast. Your team every day, and BetOnline is the place that we're going to send you to when we start doing locks and we start doing our season previews and we start doing season win totals, which we already started. Go get that right now. That's BetOnline, your sports book experts.
All right, Clint, let's start here. What is it about Stetson Bennett? We hear a lot of things and we feel our own feelings. Now
We
we're
got
not
feels.
immune from any of this. What is it about Stetson Bennett that when you watch him, although he gets the job done, although there's all the metrics and all the things that we can talk about, and we have talked about at great lengths on this podcast, what is it that really stands out to you, not as garbage conversation, but as genuine reality of what makes you skeptical that Stetson Bennett can really lead this team and really be not a Bryce Young, but a good enough quarterback to get the job done and win the national championship for Georgia?
Look, it starts with, I think the easy thing for people to see is it starts with the eye test of the physicality. Stetson Bennett is not a physical freak. He is not an imposing figure. He is not going to win any beach body awards anywhere out there. His arm does not have the strength and the incredible ability that many others are able to perform at trick shot levels. That's the number one thing. People look at him and go, this guy, like he looks like my CPA. And
Mm-hmm.
you're right. Like I get it. I understand that in totality. So that's the first thing people look at. They look at Stetson and they say he can't win it. The second thing that people look at when they see him play on the field is his presence in the pocket and the short stature and the batted balls. It's easy to do. Now it's a lazy take because there are just as many batted balls elsewhere by other quarterbacks besides Stetson Bennett. It's a lazy take, let me say so again, but when he's playing in the system, on the field, it doesn't, again, you're worried about the intimidation factor, not even when he's walking on the field, but as he is playing, he is not the fastest, although he can scramble for days. I'm not trying to make a point for why he's a good quarterback because that's easy to do. But as you look at him, it seems a lazy take can say this guy doesn't have the NFL talent, doesn't have the arm talent, doesn't have yada 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 it factor as it pertains to the imposing power, the imposing strength of a Matthew Stafford. You look at Matthew Stafford, and the guy just slings it all over the. He's tall. He's thick in the chest. He's got this presence as he drops back. You're always kind of worried as Stetson, is he going to break his own ankle when he does a 5-step drop back? Like that's what people think, and that's why he's polarizing. That's the easy eye test, Daniel, that people go to.
Yeah, and I think you look at people mention the arm strength, which he does not have elite arm strength, and that is
No,
absolutely fair. Uh, and I think you can lull yourself into thinking, especially and listen, the two go together. Kirby will say all the time, you have to have talent to win football games. Coaches
yes,
don't win
sir.
football games. He says this in humility. Coaches don't win football games, but talent wins football games, and that's why recruiting is so important. Hello, all of the recruits that were on campus last weekend.
What's up, y'all?
This is why Arch Manning and Caleb Downs are being wined and dined by the University of Georgia, because talent wins games. And so there is a correlation between the fact that Georgia just broke a record with the most NFL draft picks ever, and the fact that Georgia is the reigning national champion. But let me stop short of saying that that means that to win college football games, you have to have NFL players at every position, because that is not what that means. And college football
Nope.
history will show you you do not have to have NFL caliber players at every position. Now, I say that. I don't know that Stetson Bennett's, I don't think he's an NFL caliber starter. I don't know that Stetson Bennett's not a draftable player into the NFL, but he does lack a lot of the measurables you mentioned that a guy like Matt Stafford, that a guy like Josh Allen possesses. Like, he doesn't have this rocket arm, this physique, this he doesn't have that. But does he need to
That's
for
Thank you.
Georgia to win games?
Thank you. Guys, at
Does
the
he
end of
need
the
to?
day, I'm about to make a ludicrous observation, and this is the most fairy tale-esque thing in the world, and I'm just saying it to challenge the assumption of exactly what you say. Well, he has to have X, Y, and Z. He has to have the arm strength, yada 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 yada. Y'all, you guys remember Ryan Leaf when he came out?
Ooh,
You remember what he had in droves more than anybody else? Arm
oh
talent,
no.
arm strength, accuracy, Yada, yada, yada. What happened to Ryan Leaf is that he was not good at the footballing. Now, conversely,
No.
look at every single time you look at Tom Brady. Why does he want that photo from the combine deleted forever? Because he looked like a pool noodle out there with shorts on. And yet, people
And
made the same.
yet,
And yet, so I beg you, look at the things that Stetson does well and ask yourself, are those things that equate to wins for us? Because you could say he's a system quarterback, and I will fight you till I die. Every quarterback is a system quarterback.
sure thing.
Literally.
Sure.
Literally.
I mean,
Every
yeah.
last one.
Now, go ahead and drop it in the comments. Clint believes that Stetson Bennett is Tom Brady
There it is.
reincarnate. That's what he
There it
said.
is. Yep.
That is what he said.
Verbatim. Go
I
back.
heard it.
Go
You
back.
heard it.
Pause
We
it.
all heard it.
Record it.
Drop it
clip
into
it.
the comments. Get a clip. Make it a GIF. Whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back, and I'm gonna talk to you about one other. I think I'm gonna call it a mental roadblock that people have with Stetson Bennett that they're not willing to let go. And then Clint and I are going to answer the question: do we really believe that we can get the job done and win a national championship with Stetson Bennett as our quarterback? First, I want to tell all of you out there about Built Bar. Built Bar is the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth. They are delicious, every single one of them. We know this because we have eaten them, every single one of them.
I have
We
no
have
more birthday cake flavor bars left, Daniel, in my
No,
house.
those
They're
did
gone.
not survive the weekend that I received them. Built Bar comes in a wide variety of delicious flavors. They come in a variety of textures as well. And so, whatever is your preference, all of them high in protein, all of them high in fiber, all of them low in sugar, all of them keto approved and good for whatever diet plan or meal replacement plan you're working with. And all of them, this is the key, taste like a candy bar. It's the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, the best tasting protein bar on planet Earth. And that is coming from again, people who have actually consumed them and actually like them. BuiltBar.com, enter the promo code locked on 15. You get 15% off your first order at BuiltBar.com. Enter the promo code locked on 15 for 15% off your first order at BuiltBar.com.
What makes Stetson Bennett good, Daniel? That's what we want to know. What makes him elite? And I use elite appropriately because he is a national championship winning quarterback. What makes him elite and what makes him able to win last year and what sets him apart for this coming year that might be able to repeat for us, Daniel?
Well, I would say what makes Stetson Bennett elite is a combination of two things that sound like a contradiction. And so bear with me.
Love it.
I'm going to give you Exhibit A. Stetson Bennett is elite because Stetson Bennett has more confidence in Stetson Bennett than you or I or any other person in this world has.
Yes,
The
sir.
man has got swagger dripping off of him for days. And if
Yes,
you
sir.
think winning the national championship is not going to add to that, you've never played competitive sports before. This guy knows that he can be exactly who he needs to be, and he does not care what you or I or the Locked On Bulldogs podcast or ESPN or Rivals.com or anybody else says about him, save for Todd Monken and Kirby Smart. So Stetson Bennett is elite because of his belief in himself. Exhibit B, Stetson Bennett is elite because he knows what he can't do. And generally speaking, he doesn't try to do it.
I love this.
Now, there are times when Stetson Bennett gets out over his skis a little bit. Okay? We've seen it.
We've seen it.
We've seen him make those throws and go, no, do not let that ball go. And yet he did let that ball go. And we've seen the results of those plays. There are times when he has done that, when he's pressed a little bit. People thought, you heard Gary Danielson and Brad talking about the Tennessee game. Oh, if Stetson has to throw this many times,
Yep.
will he be able to do? Will he be able to? He answered every one of those questions. There are times when he has gone out in front of them, but generally speaking, Stetson Bennett was the best version of Stetson Bennett when he knows where his bread is buttered. He knows what he can and can't do, and he does those things. He sees 8 yards scrambling over here to the left. Guess what he's taking? 8 yards to the left. He sees Brock Bowers again coming across the middle. Guess where he's going with the football? Brock Bowers coming across the middle. He sees a little 5-yard hitch route with A.D. Mitchell and the soft coverage, and it's just 3 yards. Guess where he's going with the football? He's going to A.D. Mitchell. Well, Stetson Bennett can't throw the deep ball, Clint. Well, Stetson Bennett doesn't have the arm strength, Clint. Well, Stetson Bennett can't throw the ball down the field, Clint. He's taking what the defense gives us, and guess what it's equating to? First downs, extended drives, points, efficiency, and wins. But other than that, you're right. He doesn't do anything.
And the thing that I love about Stetson that makes him able to repeat for us and ask what is that skill? Daniel, I'm going to use the deep ball, and I'm not going to use the deep ball as in Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. Do not hear me saying he's going to do a quick little 3-step, pop it up in the air for 3.5, 4 seconds at 65 yards. That's not what I'm saying.
He's not just going to Josh Allen arm cannon that thing down the field. That's not in the repertoire.
But if you're asking him to take a quick setup, pop that ball 40 yards down the field on the sideline where only Big O, Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey, A.D. Mitchell can get it, where he can run out of the pocket and make a little room for himself, set his feet, and then deliver something. Y'all, go look at the stats.
That touchdown in the national championship game, I'm still thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about it. Every so
often I get lost mid-conversation. And I just stare off into the distance.
I'm short of breath right now.
It's like Desperado, and that comes on, and I just get lost in a moment.
What about Witchy Woman? Do you have the same reaction to Witchy Woman?
I don't have the same reaction to Witchy Woman.
Let me name some players for you, Clint.
Please do.
Let me name some players.
Please.
Khalil Mack. You heard of him?
I have.
Shaq Barrett.
I have.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep.
Hunter Renfrow. Aqib Talib.
Wow.
Carson Wentz. T.Y. Hilton.
You're talking about Super Bowl winning NFL players right now, by the way.
Cooper Kupp. Speaking of.
Okay, let's keep going.
J.J. Watt.
Yes.
Clay Matthews, Bobby Wagner. Clint, have you heard of any of these fellas?
Oh, Bobby Wagner is one of my all-time favorite NFL players of all time.
Do you know what all the players I just named have in common, Clint?
Please tell me.
They were all 2-star recruits coming out of high school.
Oh, no.
2-star recruits coming out. Sometimes, friends, we love them recruiting rankings, you know?
I do.
And by the way, Caleb Downs, commit to the G. We'd love to see it.
Come on.
We get it. We get it. It matters. If you're a recruiting guy, no shade on you. You know, we will have, we'll talk to, our recruiting guys. We'll continue to have those conversations on the podcast. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that's a bunch of 2-star, many Hall of Famers that I just named.
Yeah.
All those are current NFL players, by the way.
Yeah.
That's not all of them, but that is some of the current NFL players who were 2-star recruits coming out.
Cooper Kupp who quit football, that if you ask him to sit next to DJ Metcalf and you say which one of these is an NFL player and which one drives Lyft on the weekends, DJ Metcalf is a Greek god. Cooper Kupp is a hibachi chef.
Now listen, don't give me this Division II diamond in the rough 2-star recruit guy.
Nope.
I'm talking about Hunter Renfrow, who went to Clemson. I'm talking about J.J. Watt, who went to Wisconsin. I'm talking about Clay Matthews, who went to the University of Southern California, and all of which were drafted into the NFL, and all of which have done very well for themselves in the National Football League. don't tell, like, I'm not saying that Stetson Bennett is going to be an NFL starting quarterback. That's not the point of this. Listen, the point is at some point, you have got to let the recruiting rankings go. And you've got to just evaluate the kid based on what he does on the football field. And all those guys I just named perform on the football field. And there we are with Stetson Bennett.
Trenton Thompson.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
5 stars across the board.
Top 5 all-time signees at Georgia.
Left early to go to the NFL.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, we're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to talk more Georgia Bulldogs football because we love talking about this. Stetson can do it. Daniel, to wrap this up, he can win a national championship this year.
Am I nervous? Yes. I'm super nervous.
Of course. We're Georgia fans. Of course.
Listen to me.
Nervous.
No. For the 7 people still listening to the podcast in the 26-minute mark. Do you remember 2 years ago when we were on with our old buddy Zach and the Locked On Auburn podcast? Do you remember, Clint? And what did he say? He said, do you think you're going to win with this guy at quarterback?
Do you? I remember to this date both of those guys. That one of them is no longer part of Locked On Auburn. And I went on. I was alone. You weren't there with me.
Yeah, I left you. I was
just taking bullets, and there was audible laughing, and there was audible. They were like, "Clint, be serious with us now, man." I was like,
"Yep,
I am."
Yep. Listen, don't be Locked On Auburn. That's the PSA. That's what we're trying to be.
Can we?
Don't be Locked On Auburn. We can win with Stetson Bennett. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See ya.